the beneficiary of the rejig in the H-1B visa fee is going to be the GCC model. We've talked about that for almost a year now, if not longer. But let's chat a little bit more about it, given the urgency now because of the changing rules in the US. We've got Harsh Binani, the co-founder and ED at SmartWorks, joining in on the show right now. Harsh, hi, good morning. Great to have you on ET now. Harsh, with H-1B visa norms tightening in the US, do you expect multinational companies to now accelerate the GCC expansion in India?
Good morning. Thank you for having me on this show in the morning. Well, let's acknowledge the fact that India is the GCC capital of the world. India is no longer limited to being the talent hub. Remember the 90s with the IT services. India owned that wave, and we are about to do it again with GCCs. The fact is that we are not about labor anymore. We are about leadership in tech and talent. So from that perspective, what we truly believe is that the change in H-1B norm, that's simply a jet fuel for more acceleration of the GCC wave in India, because GCC for a lot of global companies is a strategic choice, largely because India is not only the talent hub, but it also ends up being very cost effective. And particularly, we believe that as long as India's talent pool remains its strategic weapon, the GCC will continue to scale up and grow. And more importantly, with the visa restrictions that we were starting to already see, which now with the further restriction on H-1B, US and a lot of global companies were starting to push a lot of their company to tap into India's deep talent, particularly around STEM. And given that you can now multiply that with the cost advantage that India has with the rental arbitrage, here is where we see a phenomenal opportunity. And particularly for us at SmartWorks, we've truly seen that GCCs think of us almost as a launch pad, right? Where GCCs not only land, but also take off. And here is where we've been benefiting a lot with phenomenal growth on the GCC side. And this will only amplify that.
Hi, morning. And just as you were saying, you've benefited a lot. I just want to understand to what extent that is, because we understand from reports that India already hosts more than 1,700 GCCs, and that is projected to more than double by 2030. Help us understand how do you see this structural growth in GCCs translating into demand for your company's managed office spaces?
Look, GCCs have been a very important part of SmartWorks' growing market share. And they are in fact today at early double digits, and they are the fastest growing. Our portfolio has been very diversified, not limited to only IT, ITS, but we also serve BFSI, manufacturing, healthcare, and logistics. And in fact, the GCCs that we are starting to see, a lot of them cut across each of these. And over the last few years, what we've recognized is that international companies in India, they demand their employees to have a great office experience. And that too in India, where they not only demand what they were getting overseas, but in fact more. Here is where SmartWorks has been able to get an advantage, because our format is about taking really large campuses, which are anywhere between 500,000 to 700,000 square foot, where we have aspirational amenities. And today, given our presence in more than 15 cities, we are able to offer these GCCs not only an opportunity to expand or contract with us across India, but all of this is available at a cost efficient, at least a 15 to 20% lower cost than if they were to do it themselves. And we are able to very quickly deliver this in 45 to 60 days. And further, we are seeing that with H-1B restrictions, agility is going to be the name of the game. And here is where we believe SmartWorks will have an edge to deliver the spaces very quickly and allow them to scale up and down across India. And to your other question, frankly, on the macro side, GCCs are expected to scale up quite predominantly. So we are expecting that over the next 2 years, 60 to 65 million square foot of incremental GCC leasing is going to happen. And this is not going to be limited to only IT, ITS. We are increasingly seeing BFSI, healthcare, automotive, and even the new age AI and semiconductors. The new wave, which we see, is a lot about the mid-market multinationals. And here, when they are going to scale up their deep tech and sector-specific domain functions, GCCs will prefer an increasing ecosystem where it's not only limited to talent pool and space, but a lot of allied services, which is where SmartWorks is now increasingly focusing and developing our capability there as well.
Hi, morning. This is Shrishti also joining in. You did talk about the opportunities within GCC, but as a percentage of SmartWorks' current portfolio, how much of that is leased to GCCs? If you can help us with some number, and how has this mix evolved over the past 2 to 3 years? If you can give us some sense.
So today, GCCs, like I mentioned, is a very important part of our portfolio. They are in early double digits today, and they are the fastest growing. Our sectoral pool is very well diversified. Earlier, it used to have a heavy index on IT, ITS, but over the last 3 years, we've diversified towards manufacturing, healthcare, logistics, and manufacturing. And we are seeing a lot of GCCs cut across each of these. So, which is where part of our portfolio is exclusively for GCCs. But as we are now increasingly engaging with a lot of our occupiers who are expanding across India, we are recognizing that within their head office or corporate office with SmartWorks, they were already operating a lot of their GCC portfolio. So in fact, I'll not be surprised if we were to do a cut. GCC specific should be significantly more than the early double digits that I mentioned.
So, Harsh, tell me, with GCC revenues in India projected to hit about $100 billion by 2030, what is SmartWorks' 5-year growth outlook for this occupier segment?
We believe SmartWorks is at the heart of the GCC growth story, because while the India macro story is very well appreciated, and India is very advantageously positioned today to tap into GCCs because of our rental arbitrage. Today, we are still at large $1 a square foot market, which is, by the way, a fraction to what you would find in US and UK, where the numbers would be upwards of $10. Secondly, you also have the talent advantage, because the talent pool in India is not only deep, but they are also available at a significant arbitrage. Where we believe we have a strategic opportunity scaling up the SmartWorks platform today, which stands at more than 12 million, and we continue to grow, is the fact that we are able to offer cost advantage. We are also able to offer a pan-India presence, and the MSAs that we've signed up with GCCs across our portfolio allows them to expand and contract across India. And the advantage where we see we will be able to scale up even faster and offer this value proposition is the fact that we are able to deliver office spaces in 45 to 60 days, which is a competitive edge, because GCCs today, especially after the uncertainty with the H-1B visa, they want to scale up very rapidly. And that is where flex space as a solution and SmartWorks as a market leader is poised in the next 3 to 5 years to perhaps grow the portfolio more than 3x, 4x of the current GCCs that we have.
Okay, and Harsh, also give us a sense in terms of the leasing cost. This $10 figure that you just spoke about, as of now, if you take a look at where Indian companies are leasing, it's anywhere between just $1 or $2 per square foot per month, far below the global benchmarks. This $10 figure that you're talking about, help us understand what the timeline could be. How quickly could this acceleration happen here?
India today has about a billion square foot of office space across tier 1 and tier 2 cities, with tier 1 cities, of course, dominating the majority. What needs to be appreciated is that in the 75 years of our independence, we've been able to scale up to about a billion square foot. And the last 800 million has only come in the last 20 odd years. There are several reports. In fact, recently Kushmin also published a report, and there were several reports prior to that, which tip that India is going to add the next billion square foot in the next 10 to 15 years. What that indicates to you that the headway is fairly meaningful, and the rental arbitrage will continue to remain for the next decade or even more, because the gap is just so much. And you obviously also have a lot of deepening of office space, which has not happened in tier 2 cities. So from that outlook, we believe both the talent and the rental arbitrage is here to stay. And if you are able to offer the GCCs a very compelling proposition, which is about that entire ecosystem play, right, which is not only about space and talent, but about offering all the services that they need to scale up, then we believe that it's actually a very compelling opportunity. So going forward, we expect that not just incremental seats, but larger multi-GCC campuses is where SmartWorks will be able to uniquely position itself and take advantage of the opportunity, while the theory around India being the office to the world is going to continue. And one aspect that needs to be appreciated is earlier the recognition was that India is actually the IT back office, but no longer is that the truth. We are, in fact, seeing that we have become the Formula One pit crew, if I had to use that analogy, where it's not only essential for winning the race, but it's increasingly important for driving the car as well. So that is where SmartWorks or the larger office ecosystem is going to benefit increasingly over the next 3 to 5 years.
Exciting time for you ahead, Harsh. Wishing you the best, and thanks once again for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's shift focus to the primary market, talk about the new kid on the block, that's VMS TMT. That IPO has just listed at a flat premium of about 4.5%. Remember, the price band for this issue was at 99 rupees, so that was the issue price. It's listed around 103, 104, so flattish debut coming in for VMS TMT. This is a company that deals with wiring and also scrap and binding wires, so that is one thing to watch out for. But well, yes, almost a flattish listing coming in for the new kid on the block, VMS TMT. On that note, we'll slip into a very short break. Be right back with more interesting conversations lined up on the other side.